of the biggest news drops, biggest bombs of the week, if not of the last month, has been the retiring of Tom Brady. You got the initial report on Saturday, wondering, is it 100% true? Couldn't get it confirmed. And then chaos struck, and it struck our next guest, TJ Rives, the sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as he kind of had to stay low. We were hoping to have him on Tuesday about 2 hours after the news broke, but unfortunately with the chaos in the situation, TJ told me he had to stay low, so I said no problem. We'll reschedule it later in the week. So TJ, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us, and kind of walk us through the chaos that happened Monday and Tuesday as the Tom Brady bomb dropped.
Well, first of all, it is great to be with you. I'm sorry that you're shivering in Northwest Arkansas, so I should not tell you it's an 80-degree day in Tampa Bay. I should not tell you that. Okay, I will not tell you that.
I appreciate
There's plenty of sunshine down here. And by the way, your Hogs were down here for the Outback Bowl on a gorgeous 75-degree day on New Year's Day to beat Penn State, and I did the game on local radio here. I brought some love to the Hogs on local radio for the win, so I'm just putting that out there to try to give some warmth to the people in Northwest Arkansas. But yeah, it has not been dull here this week, and thank you for bearing with me. For the audience, again, Drew and I go back to his days in Memphis when he was producing and on the air in Memphis, and Drew was putting the bat signal up privately and trying to get me on. And I said, listen, when I can get on, when I can come on with you, I'll do it. He stayed after me. Here we are. It's been wild, to say the least, behind the scenes, because I believe there was legitimate belief by the Buccaneers that Tom Brady was waffling on whether or not to retire or not. But obviously, as Sunday became Monday, Monday became Monday night, he's on his own podcast, not saying, "Hey, I'm going to be back for sure." When you didn't hear that, I think everybody was concerned. And then, sure enough, Tuesday morning, there's the social media announcement that after 22 years, after 7 Super Bowl wins, smashing every record imaginable, that's it. The GOAT has walked away after 2 years in Tampa Bay. And I think it's another discussion that we can talk about here in a second about should he have to wait 5 years to go in the Hall of Fame, or should they just do this immediately, Drew Barrett? I don't know.
I don't either, TJ. I think that if there's ever going to be a player that you just said, screw it, let's let him in. Obviously they do that for guys that are dead or, possibly dying. I mean, first one you think of,
right,
like Lou Gehrig got in the Hall, but didn't have to wait the allotment period.
By the way, the NHL did it for Wayne Gretzky immediately. They realized he's the greatest of all time in hockey, and we're not waiting 5 years or 3 years or 15 minutes. We're doing it right now. So there is precedent. You're right.
And I think the best comparison to Wayne Gretzky on the football landscape would definitely be Tom Brady. But as the Bucs organization, were they aware that it was a possibility? Did they get taken, this come out of left field to them? Did they have a plan going forward? What was kind of their build-up and their mentality coming up to this decision by Tom Brady?
Well, I believe they have to be prepared for everything. And Bruce Arians keeps calling it door number 2. He talked about it 2 years ago at this time when the Bucs were deciding whether they would bring Jameis Winston back or not. And he said, we got to see what's behind door number 2. And holy cow, door number 2 was Tom Brady. And so I don't know that you can guarantee a door number 2 like this 2 years later in 2022. But they have been preparing for what if he does decide that's it at 44 years of age. And so they're looking at free agency. Might there be a blockbuster trade? We saw the L.A. Rams make a blockbuster trade, as you know, as your audience knows, to go get Matt Stafford, the old Georgia Bulldog, out of Detroit, liberate him, almost like a prison break, Drew Barrett. Wait a minute, I get to leave Detroit and come to Los Angeles to begin with. And now look how that worked out. But they traded away a couple of number 1 picks and their starting quarterback, Jared Goff, to make that happen. So are the Bucs eyeing a blockbuster trade like that for somebody like a Russell Wilson that's maybe disgruntled and maybe done in Seattle? I don't know. Will it be a free agent quarterback? I don't know. But they definitely do have plans. It did not catch them completely off guard, but now reality is set in. We got to figure out who the quarterback is for 2022 on a very talented team.
Yeah, it is the most important position on the field for a reason. The quarterback can really set the tone for how your season is going to go. And when you're looking at the future for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and still a lot of great talent on both sides of the ball, is it go get your quarterback for a short stint? I mean, obviously, I don't think Russell Wilson's really got that many years left in him. I think he's still a great quarterback and can help a team win a championship. When do you kind of stop doing the quick fixes and start looking for that quarterback of the future as far as draft goes, as far as, maybe plucking a backup from somewhere else, seeing if you can't develop him? When does that timeline start?
Well, it's a good question, and the Bucs have one of those guys in Kyle Trask, the former Florida Gator who they drafted in the second round last year. Remember, Trask had such a tremendous season at Florida in the 2020 campaign. They ended up losing to Alabama in a wild SEC high-scoring title game and got beat. Trask ended up not playing in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas against Oklahoma. He opted out and said, hey, I'm just going to get ready for the NFL draft, and Florida ended up getting wiped out by Oklahoma. They had several other players that opted out as well, and Oklahoma beat the daylights out of them. So Trask has been the understudy. He's been watching Tom Brady all year, meeting room, practice field, didn't get on the field in the regular season, played some in the preseason. This is world according to TJ, Drew. You always love this about me. I don't have a problem with trying Kyle Trask at this point. Looking what Mac Jones of Alabama did with the New England Patriots, looking at what Joe Burrow has done for the 2 years in Cincinnati, even off the torn ACL. Look how good he was in this second season. Look at how good Tua was as the full-time starter, another Alabama quarterback, down in Miami, and their offensive line isn't very good. So those are three examples of SEC quarterbacks that have been somewhere else, and right away, Mac Jones is a rookie this year, demonstrating, yes, a learning curve, but they can get it done, and probably not even with the same weapons the Buccaneers have. So my bottom line point is, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world that you give Kyle Trask the shot with a veteran backup there in the event that he's injured or his play is ineffective and you want to go to the veteran backup. Again, that's world according to TJ. That's not necessarily what they're going to do. I just wouldn't be as concerned as some are if they give Trask the shot.
And I also want another view from World of TJ, and I kind of wanted your actual view because we haven't had you on since before the season, right before Tampa played the Cowboys. And I know one of the biggest stories revolving around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year has been somewhat of a negative one in Antonio Brown. You were in New York. What was your view from the sidelines, Mr. Sideline Reporter, seeing it?
My friend, I was 20 feet away from it, and as we sit here and still talk on this Friday in February, I still have to ask myself, did I really watch that? It was 20 feet away, and I am on the radio, off the air, telling my boss, off the air, my Buccaneer radio boss, he is taking his jersey and pads off. Come to me. The Bucs are about to run a third down play with Tom Brady. I'm like, come to me. And I described to Gene what's going on, Gene Deckerhoff, our Hall of Fame play-by-play announcer. I'm like, Gene, he has taken off his jersey and his pads and thrown them down right in front of me and is now running towards the end zone, the empty end zone here at MetLife Stadium while the Bucs are at the other end of the field getting ready to run a play. It was as bizarre as anything I have been part of in 30 years of doing this in sports media. I was right there, ringside, for the mayhem. And, wow. I mean, we could talk for another 15 minutes about that whole situation, but obviously Antonio Brown imploded. He needs help. I'm no psychiatrist. I'm just playing one on your show, Drew Barrett. He obviously needs some kind of help with the behavior and the stuff that he was doing, and that's as crazy as anything I've been part of, and I was right there. I kept getting text messages, social media messages from people taking my picture and showing the meme video of me standing there behind a shirtless Antonio Brown. I'm the Where's Waldo in the background, Drew, for that one. I was right there.
That is great. I don't know how you were able to talk after that. I feel like I'd be in one of the most speechless moments, just kind of staring, going, there's no way this is actually happening. Not just in a game, but in a game that the Bucs were trying to come back in.
Yes.
I mean, they ended up winning the game, but it's not like you would normally think Tampa Bay at New York against the Jets. Okay, it's probably a blowout. This was an actual game that the Buccaneers needed.
And it was close, and they had the ball, and suddenly he's not only not going in the game, he has pulled the ejection handle to leave. It's one of the craziest moments of 2021 in sports in this country for sure. And it is a footnote on a wild Buccaneer season. They did come back to win that game. They did go on to win a playoff game, but then they came up short in a valiant comeback, down 27-3 against the LA Rams. Came back to tie the game, only to have the Rams beat them. And now we'll see if the Rams go on to be crowned as Super Bowl champions or not. But I can't say enough to you, and everybody else when I'm doing these interviews, it has just been a tremendous experience to be around Tom Brady, even in a short sample just for 2 years. It was 20 years in New England. But even being around it for 2 years, it was great to watch this, and he's playing at such a high level. I mean, he threw that bomb, Drew, to Mike Evans late in that Rams game in the final quarter right in front of me, right over the top of Jalen Ramsey. And I'm like, he's still got it. Anybody that wonders if at 44 he can still make the throws, what a tremendous throw that was. You would be happy with a quarterback at 34 that's making that throw, not 44 years of age. So Brady, it's not a physical decision. It's not because he can't physically play anymore. He's just decided for the family reasons, the emotional part. At some point, you've got to move on to the next phase of your life. He's decided to do that, not for the physical reasons, but for life after football reasons. There you go.
We're talking with TJ Rives, sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Only got a few more minutes left, TJ, and I do want to get your opinion on the big Super Bowl matchup. You brought up Joey B a minute ago, just talked about how he played against the Rams. What's your thoughts on the matchup? Does Matt Stafford finally get that Super Bowl ring because he's got all the statistics? Everything else is kind of the one thing maybe keeping him out of the hall. Or is Joe Burrow truly, Joe Cool, Joe Namath? Is he more of a Broadway Joe Namath? I mean, what kind of matchup do you think this is going to be, and who do you think comes out on top?
It's wild. I mean, Cincinnati has not been playoff relevant since Bush the Elder was the president and MC Hammer was releasing "You Can't Touch This" in 1990 with the parachute pants. That's the last time the Bengals were this relevant, much less Super Bowl relevant. And what an amazing comeback to be down 21-3 on the road at Kansas City and win that game. How do you count Cincinnati out? They're going to have a puncher's chance. I just like the Rams at home with the moves they made to get Odell Beckham, to get Von Miller, the pass rusher. Von Miller terrorized the Buccaneers in the playoff win in Tampa. He was tremendous again against the 49ers. He may be the key against what is really a banged-up Cincinnati offensive line. I mean, Burrow was taking hits and sacks in that game with the Chiefs. He was just relentless and kept playing hard. I just don't know with 2 weeks to get ready, I don't know how he solves that Ram defense completely, and they're playing them in L.A. in their stadium. So I think ultimately it is the Rams that will come out on top. But what a great story for Burrow and Cincinnati. They had never won a road playoff game, ever. Boomer Esiason, Ickey Woods, none of it. They had never won a road playoff game, and they won in Nashville over Tennessee, and now slayed Mahomes and the Chiefs in comeback fashion in Kansas City. It's a wild ride for Joe Burrow in only year number 2, for sure. Oh,
it really is. And real quick, because we're really up against the break here, I just wanted to make you feel old. Last time Cincinnati was in this situation, the Super Bowl, I wasn't born yet. Still about 4 years away.
You were not on the planet. That's why you don't know about parachute pants. And Joe Montana breaking Cincinnati's heart with a last-second touchdown drive, and Drew Barrett wasn't on the planet. You are making me feel old on a Friday, but I still love you so, and I'm happy to be with you, and I'm glad we were able to make it work and come on.
Hey, I appreciate it, TJ. You have a great day, and try to stay warm, because that's what we're all trying to do up here in Northwest Arkansas.
We'll send you some sunshine and some warmth. I'll send you some pictures or some video to try to warm it up there and thaw the ice a little bit. You guys be well, be safe, and let's see what those Hogs do in the hoops here. I'm liking what I see out of them right now, my friend. Good to be with you.
There may be less football being played, but BetOnline has way more stuff to bet on this playoff season. From scored, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all things NFL betting in 2022. And with the new year comes a new updated desktop and mobile website. Sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. And it's not just football. BetOnline's basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC odds coverage is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts.